The human engineer named Ethan was nervous. This was his first real mission outside of Earth. He had studied alien languages, trained with diplomats, and passed all his technical tests. Still, nothing prepared him for being on the Lexari flagship, orbiting the twin moons of their homeworld. The Lexari were tall, elegant beings with soft-colored skin and glowing eyes. Their clothes were loose and made of layers that shimmered when they moved. They valued peace, order, and deep honesty. Ethan's job was to install and test a new translator device. It was supposed to work perfectly with the Lexari language. The council had agreed to let him activate it during a formal dinner. It was a big deal. Everyone was watching. He stood beside the table, where the Lexari leaders were already seated. They looked calm, their long fingers folded neatly. Next to them sat a young Lexari woman with soft purple skin and calm golden eyes. Her name was Jaya. She was the daughter of one of the high advisors. Ethan hadn't spoken to her before, but she had smiled at him earlier, and he had smiled back. The translator was clipped to his shirt. He tapped it and stepped forward. Honored guests. He began, "It is my joy to greet you in your own language." The translator blinked green and spoke. A soft voice repeated his words in Lexari. There was a pause, then silence. Jaya tilted her head. Slowly, and without a word, she stood. Her fingers moved to the edges of her robe. Ethan blinked. She slid the top layer off her shoulders. The room went still. Someone dropped a spoon. Ethan's face turned red. Wait. What did I say? Jaya looked calm, almost respectful. You spoke the phrase of openness. She said gently, "It is the old call for shared truth. I am answering it. I didn't mean that." Ethan said quickly, panicking. "But you said it," another Lexari elder added. Clearly, and with the voice of your machine. The translator, Ethan mumbled, turning it off. Maybe it got something wrong. Jaya stopped describing after the top layer. "Do not worry," she said with a light smile. "You have honored me." The humans in the room exchanged wide-eyed looks. The human captain leaned over and whispered to Ethan, "Next time, test it in private first." After the dinner, Ethan sat in the quiet garden outside the Lexari temple. He felt terrible. Zhe approached him with a small cup of blue tea. "You look troubled," she said. "I didn't mean to insult you," Ethan said. "I just wanted to say hello in your language." "You did," she replied softly. "And you said more." "But I was not insulted." Ethan took a breath. "I feel like everyone thinks I said something strange or personal." Jaya sat beside him. In our culture, to ask someone to reveal truth is not strange. It is respected. We remove our outer robes to show our honesty. But it is not something said lightly. "I didn't know," Ethan said. The translator shouldn't have used that phrase. Perhaps it knows more than it seems. She said with a hint of humor. He looked at her and saw no anger, only curiosity. "But why remove clothes?" he asked. "We believe that hiding behind fabric hides truth." She said, "To remove layers is to say, I trust you to see me as I am." "On Earth," Ethan said, smiling awkwardly, "that would mean something very different." Jaya nodded. "Your people are still learning our ways, just as we are learning yours." "I hope no one else thinks I was trying to start a ritual," Ethan said. Zhe looked at him. "Some already do." "Great," Ethan groaned. "But I did not think less of you," she added. "You spoke without fear. Maybe that is why they respect you now." Ethan blinked. "Respect? They think you know the old ways," she said. Most would not dare say that phrase unless they were prepared to be challenged. He looked at the stars above. "I just wanted to say hello." "You said more," Jay replied. "And that may be why the stars listened." Ethan didn't understand everything, but he felt better still. He promised himself he wouldn't touch the translator again until it had been fully checked. Meanwhile, across the ship, words spread quickly. The human said the phrase. "He spoke like the ancients," Jaya answered him. "Maybe he is the one." And so, a simple mistake opened a door Ethan never meant to touch, but fate had already turned the key. The next morning, Ethan woke up with a nervous feeling in his stomach. He had barely slept all night. His mind kept replaying the moment Jaya began removing her robe. It wasn't a bad memory, just confusing. It wasn't something he expected on his first diplomatic mission. And now, everyone on the alien ship seemed to be talking about him. When he stepped out of his room, 2 Lexari guards were standing outside. They didn't say anything, but they bowed slightly and followed him. He walked toward the food hall and tried to ignore the whispers around him. Lexari crew members paused and watched as he passed. Some nodded with wide eyes. A few even bowed. Ethan felt like he was walking through a dream. In the food hall, he sat with a few other human engineers. One of them, Riley, leaned in and said, "You started a movement, man." Ethan blinked. "What do you mean?" Riley grinned. "They're calling you the truth speaker." "Seriously, apparently that phrase you said? It's something only their highest monks say during peace rituals. I didn't mean to say it." Ethan said quietly, "It was a translator glitch." "Yeah, but they don't care," Riley replied. "Jaya backed you up. She said you honored her." Just then, Jaya entered the hall. She moved gracefully, wearing different robes today, lighter, simpler. She spotted Ethan and walked straight toward him. The room grew quiet. "Good morning, truth speaker," she said softly. Ethan almost choked on his drink. "Please don't call me that." She tilted her head. "But you are. Even our old songs speak of one who comes from the stars, who speaks without knowing, and still touches truth." "I was just trying to say hello," Ethan repeated. Zhe sat beside him. "In doing so, you said more. Now, the High Council has requested your presence." His eyes widened. "The Council? What for?" "They wish to hear your truth. They want to know why you said the phrase, and if you will say it again." Ethan looked around the room. Every eye was on him. "What happens if I say it again?" he asked. Zhe single quotes s expression turned serious. "It would be seen as a deep sign of connection, not just to me, but to our people. And if I don't, they might think you were mocking us. Or afraid." Ethan rubbed his face. "Great. Trapped either way." Jaya placed her hand lightly on the table. "I will go with you. They respect me, and I respect you. I will tell them the truth that you meant no harm." He nodded slowly. "Okay, let's go meet the council." The council chamber was wide and round, with soft glowing lights above and a large circular platform. In the center, 10 elders sat around the edge, dressed in thick ceremonial robes. Their faces were calm, but their eyes were sharp. Zhe stepped forward first. She bowed deeply. "Honored elders, I bring the human named Ethan, who spoke the phrase of openness." "Does he come to repeat the phrase?" asked one elder. "He comes to explain," Jay said. "And he comes in peace?" Ethan stepped forward. His translator was off this time. He had learned enough of the Lexari tongue to speak the basic words himself. He bowed and said, "I did not know the phrase. I spoke with a machine. It made a mistake. But I did not come to mock or trick. I came to learn." The council whispered among themselves. Then the lead elder said, "But the machine must learn from somewhere. Perhaps it chose the word from your heart." Ethan frowned. "Maybe. I was nervous. But I meant to show respect." Jaya spoke gently. "He has shown honesty, not just words. He did not hide. He came here, though he feared judgment. That is a stronger truth than any phrase." The lead elder nodded. "Then we accept his words. But we ask one thing. If the phrase comes from his heart, would he share a truth of his world? Not with words, but with action." Ethan blinked. "Like what?" Jaya turned to him. "A story. A memory. Something you do not hide. Something real." Ethan thought for a long moment. Then, slowly, he took out a small device from his pocket. He pressed it, and a small hologram appeared. It showed a child, his little sister, laughing as she chased a paper airplane across a sunny field on Earth. "This," he said quietly, "is my truth. I joined the Space Corps to protect peace, so that kids like her can always run free and smile under the sun." The room stayed silent. Then the lead elder stood and lowered his hood. "You have spoken truth, not through ancient words, but through your soul." Jaya smiled. Ethan bowed again. When they left the chamber, The Lexari guards bowed even deeper. This time, not because of a phrase, but because of what Ethan had shown them. After the council meeting, Ethan thought things would go back to normal. He had explained himself, showed his truth, and the Lexari elders had accepted him. He felt relief, even a bit of pride. But what he didn't know was that things were only beginning. The next morning, the hallways of the alien ship were even busier than before. Lexari workers paused when they saw him, bowing or nodding with deep respect. Some placed their hands over their hearts. Ethan walked through the halls with Jaya by his side. She wore a long, flowing robe today, a deep silver color. Her face was calm, but her eyes watched everyone closely. They're still staring. Ethan whispered. Yes, Jaya replied. You are now seen as a speaker of ancient truth. They believe your presence is special. You carry weight in our culture now. I didn't ask for that. True, she said, but sometimes the stars choose for us. They entered the ship's learning center. We're human, and Lexari teams were supposed to train together. It was part of a new cooperation plan between Earth and the Lexari Union. Inside, several humans were already working. Captain Brooks, a tall and serious woman from Earth Command, stepped forward. Ethan, she said, we've got a problem. What now? He asked carefully. She pointed at the screen. Our data lines with the Lexari systems are failing. The connection isn't stable. We need to reset their core links, but their engineers won't let us touch them. Jaya stepped forward. Our systems are sacred. Only those with high honor can adjust the inner codes. Ethan looked at Jaya. Can I do it? Jaya paused. Maybe. Captain Brooks frowned. Are you saying he's allowed? Jaya turned to her. Your engineers spoke the phrase. The council accepted him among our people. That gives him the right to speak, to lead, and sometimes to touch. The core. Ethan blinked. Wait, I have permission to fix their main system now? If you do it with respect, Jaya said. Yes. Captain Brooks looked surprised, but also impressed. Well then, you'd better do it. Without stable systems, our joint mission won't move forward. Ethan entered the core room for the first time. It was quiet, filled with glowing lines and slow-moving lights. Lexari engineers stood along the walls, watching in silence. Jaya guided him to the control pillar. Place your hand here. Speak only once. Let the system feel your intent. What do I say? Anything from your heart. He placed his hand on the smooth surface. He closed his eyes and said, I came to build trust. The lights flickered, then slowly turned green. The core accepted him. A soft wave of warmth moved through the room. The Lexari engineers bowed deeply. ZHEYA smiled. It worked. Outside the core room, word spread again. Humans started calling him Translator Prime, while some Lexari used the phrase Sky Truth. Ethan tried to act normal, but it became hard to do anything without someone asking for his opinion or blessing. Even when he went to eat lunch, a group of Lexari children came up and asked him to speak the word. He laughed gently. It's not a magic word, but when you say it, one child said, people become kind. That night, Ethan sat alone on the observation deck. The stars outside were beautiful. Soft lights from the ship glowed behind him. Zhea joined him quietly. You didn't run, she said. I thought about it, he answered with a small smile. But I realized maybe this is why I'm here. Not to fix a machine, she said, but to fix something deeper. You think all this is fate? Maybe, Jay replied. Or maybe it's just two paths crossing at the right time. Ethan looked at her. You've been helping me a lot. I don't think I would have made it without you. She turned her eyes toward the stars. You listen. Most don't, and when you speak, you mean it. That matters to us. He nodded slowly. Do you still think I said the phrase on purpose? Jay's lips curved into a gentle smile. I think it came from something real inside you, even if you didn't know it yet. The silence between them felt warm, like calm music. Ethan whispered. So, if I said it again now, Jay turned her head slightly. I'd still answer it. He looked down, heart beating faster. But then, she stood and said softly, but next time, say it with full knowledge, not by mistake. And with that, She walked away, leaving Ethan staring at the stars, his mind full of questions and something else he couldn't name yet. The next few days moved faster than Ethan expected. He found himself attending more meetings, helping with Lexari system upgrades, and guiding both human and alien teams through small misunderstandings. Everyone now looked at him differently, not just as an engineer, but as someone important, someone who spoke with meaning. But not all eyes were kind. A new alien ship arrived in orbit, one not part of the original mission. It belonged to the Vorok, a proud and ancient species that had old ties to the Lexari. They were tall, with rich faces and glowing eyes that seemed to judge everything they saw. The Vork did not trust humans. They joined the Lexari Council meeting without much warning. Their leader, Commander Vakin, stood tall in the meeting room. His voice was deep and rough. "We've heard stories," Vakin said, "about a human who speaks sacred words. We have come to see this truth for ourselves." Ethan sat beside Captain Brooks and Jaya, trying not to show his discomfort. "I never claimed to be special," Ethan said. "It was a misunderstanding." Vakin gave a sharp grin. "Then show us. Speak the word again. If your heart holds the truth, our minds will feel it." Jaya stood before him. He already showed his truth. He doesn't need to prove anything more. "Your people may accept him," Vakin said, "but our ways are different. Words alone mean nothing without a challenge." Ethan frowned. "What kind of challenge?" Vakin pointed toward the Grand Chamber, a test of knowledge and trust. "You will enter the Circle of Minds. If you pass, we believe you. If not, we ask that you leave this mission." Captain Brooks stood up. "This isn't how we agreed to work together. Threatening one of our own is not peaceful diplomacy." Jaya placed a calming hand on the captain's shoulder. "Let him decide." Ethan looked at both women, then back at Vakin. He didn't like being forced, but he also didn't want to run from something that could build more trust between their species. "Fine," Ethan said. "I'll enter the circle." The Circle of Minds was an ancient chamber deep inside the Lexari vessel. The walls were smooth and round, with soft light running along the floor. In the center was a ring of glowing tiles. Each step forward would light one tile. With each tile, the person inside would be asked a question, some logical, some emotional, and some spiritual. Zheya explained it gently. "You don't have to answer perfectly, just honestly." Vakin stood beside the platform, watching closely. A few Vorks stood behind him, arms crossed. Ethan stepped into the ring. The first tile lit up. Question 1. Why do you speak, even when you do not understand all the meaning? Ethan answered. Because silence sometimes builds more walls than wrong words. The tile turned green. The second tile lit. Question 2. What do you fear losing the most? He thought of his sister, his family on Earth, his team, the people who still believe in me. Green again. The third tile lit. Question 3. What would you give up for peace? He paused for a long time. My name, my role, even my success. If it meant lives would be saved. The light stayed green. He kept stepping forward. With each question, he answered from the heart. No lies, no clever tricks, only truth. When the last tile lit up, the question surprised him. Final question. What does she mean to you? He looked toward Jaya. She was standing still, watching him closely. Ethan took a deep breath. I don't know yet, but every time I speak and she listens, I feel like I'm becoming someone better. The chamber stayed silent for a few seconds. Then the final tile turned bright green. The entire ring glowed gently. The Vork commander lowered his head slightly. You have passed. Perhaps you are not just noise after all. Ethan walked out of the ring. His knees felt shaky, but he stood tall. Zheya smiled softly. You did more than speak truth. You walked through it. Vakin turned to her. He is now marked. We will watch him, not as an enemy, but as one worth learning from. Back in his quarters, Ethan sat on the edge of his bed, exhausted. Everything was moving so fast. There was a soft knock. The door opened and Jaya stepped in. Her voice was calm. You could have walked away. I know, Ethan replied, but I didn't want to hide. She moved closer, standing just in front of him. When you answered that last question, she began. It meant something. He looked up at her. I meant every word. Jaya reached up and gently removed her outer scarf, the traditional gesture of trust. This time, she whispered, you spoke with full knowledge. Ethan didn't move. He just nodded. No translator glitch. No accent. This time, it was real. After the Circle of Minds test, things between Ethan and the Lexari grew stronger. The Vork accepted him as more than just a human engineer. They called him the Bridge, someone who could connect different worlds through truth and respect. Ethan still felt the weight of that title. It wasn't easy to live up to, but he tried every day. One morning, Jaya invited Ethan to join her in the ship's meditation gardens. The gardens were a peaceful place, full of soft plants glowing under alien lights. The air smelled fresh and calming. You have been through much, Jaya said, sitting beside him. Do you feel ready for what comes next? Ethan shook his head. No, every day feels like a test. But I want to learn, and I want to help. Jaya smiled softly. You have helped more than. Your honesty gave courage to others. I just spoke what was true, Ethan said. But why do your people respect words so much? Because words are actions, Jaya explained. A promise is not just said, it must be kept. A question is not just asked, it opens a door. Truth is the path we walk. Ethan thought about his life on Earth, the promises he made, the lies he heard. Sometimes, words feel empty to us. Perhaps your people hide behind words. Jaya said, but you, when you spoke that phrase the first time, you removed your mask without knowing. Ethan looked at her. You mean like the robes? Yes, she said. Removing clothes is not about shame. It is about showing you are open, willing to be seen as you truly are. That makes sense, Ethan said. But it's hard for me. Humans don't usually do that. Then you are a new kind of human, Jaya said. One who teaches us new ways too. Later that day, a message arrived from Earth Command. The humans were concerned about the growing tensions with the Vork. They feared the ancient species would not trust humans easily. Ethan was asked to lead a small diplomatic team to the neutral planet of Orionis, where they would meet other species for peace talks. Jaya offered to join him. We face this together, she said. Ethan smiled. Thank you. I would want you there. On the way to Orionis, the ship encountered a dangerous storm in space. Thick clouds of charged particles blocked sensors and engines. The crew struggled to navigate. Ethan and Jaya worked side by side, combining human technology and Lexari intuition. Their teamwork impressed the entire crew. Your calm helped me focus, Ethan told Jaya, and your steady mind helped me trust my instincts. She replied. As the storm passed, the ship emerged safely near Orionis. The planet was covered in wide forests and shining lakes, home to many species. The peace talks began in a grand hall filled with representatives from dozens of worlds. Ethan and Jaya stood together at the front. We come as friends, Ethan said. We speak with truth and respect. The mistakes made before are lessons for us all. Jaya added, our worlds are different, but our hopes are the same: peace, trust, and growth. Many delegates nodded. Some even smiled. A young alien from the Turkish species stepped forward. We have heard of your bond, she said to Ethan and Jaya. The phrase you speak is old and powerful. It means trust and truth. Yes, Ethan said. It was a surprise to me, but now I understand its meaning more than ever. The Turkish delegate bowed. Then may your bond be a light for all here. After the talks, Ethan and Jaya walked through the gardens of Orionis. Soft breezes carried strange but sweet scents. Do you ever worry what will happen if this bond is broken? Ethan asked. Sometimes, Jaya said. But trust is like a seed. It needs care to grow. Ethan looked at her. I want to keep that seed alive. She smiled gently. Then speak your truth, always. He nodded. One word from me, and you start taking off your robes. But now I know why. She laughed softly. And next time, you'll say the word with full knowledge. Ethan smiled back. Yes, with full knowledge. They stood quietly, watching the alien sunset together. The days after the peace talks were busy but hopeful. Ethan and Jaya worked hard to build trust between the humans, Lexari, and other species. Their bond grew stronger, and the story of the phrase spread across the sector. One evening, as the ship drifted near a small, quiet moon, Ethan received an urgent message. "We have an emergency," Captain Brooks said, her voice serious. "Small colony on the moon is under attack by pirates. They demand help." The ship changed course, moving fast toward the moon. Ethan stood beside Jaya in the command room. "This will be dangerous," Ethan said. "The pirates are ruthless," Jaya nodded, "but we have something they do not, unity." As they approached the moon, the pirates fired warning shots. The humans and Lexari prepared for battle. Ethan felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. "We can't just fight," Jaya said. "We must show them the truth of our strength." Ethan looked at her, understanding. "You mean not just weapons, but honesty?" She smiled. "Yes, sometimes truth is the greatest weapon." The pirates boarded the colony ship with loud weapons and fierce faces. They demanded all supplies and said the colonists would be slaves if they refused. Ethan stepped forward, holding up his hands. "Wait," he said calmly. "We do not want more violence, but we will not let fear rule us." Jaya stood beside him. She removed her outer robe, showing the bright markings of a Lexari warrior beneath. "We come in truth," she said, "not to hide, but to show our hearts." The pirate leader narrowed his eyes. "What is this? A trick?" "No trick," Ethan said. "We want peace, but we will fight if we must." The pirate leader laughed. "Then prove it." Ethan stepped closer. "Let me tell you a story." He told of Earth, of how humans survived wars and disasters not by hiding, but by standing together and speaking honestly. How they rebuilt with trust, not fear. Jaya added her own words of ancient Lexari honor, where warriors would remove their armor to show no fear in battle or peace. Slowly, the pirates' faces changed. Some lowered their weapons. The leader spoke again. "You have courage, maybe more than we thought." Ethan nodded. "We do not want enemies. We want friends." After a long silence, the pirates stepped back. They left the colony untouched. Back on the ship, the crew cheered quietly. Captain Brooks clapped Ethan on the shoulder. "That was brave. You used more than weapons today." Ethan smiled. "Sometimes words and truth matter more." Jaya joined them. "This is just the beginning. Many will test our bond." "I'm ready," Ethan said, "because I don't walk alone." Later, as the ship sailed through calm space, Ethan and Jaya stood on the observation deck. "One word from me," Ethan said, "and you take off your robes. But now, it means something much deeper." Jaya looked at him, eyes soft. "You speak with understanding now, and that changes everything." Ethan reached out and gently took her hand. "Together," he said, "we'll build a new future." She smiled, the stars shining in her eyes. One truth at a time. The final chapter of Ethan's mission was more important than any battle or test he had faced so far. The Lexari and humans were ready to sign a universal treaty for peace, one that could change the future of many worlds. The signing ceremony took place in a vast hall on the capital planet of the Lexari. Thousands of beings from dozens of species gathered. Bright banners waved gently in the light, and the air buzzed with hope. Ethan stood beside Jaya, dressed in formal robes. Today, they would speak the phrase together, the word that had started it all. But this time, it was not a mistake. It was a promise. As the ceremony began, the High Elder stepped forward and spoke. "Today, we witness not only the joining of worlds, but the joining of hearts. May the truth spoken here guide us all." Then Ethan and Jaya moved to the center stage. They faced the crowd, their hands linked. Ethan took a deep breath. He looked at Jaya's calm face, the years of trust between them shining in her eyes. "One word from me," Ethan said, "and she starts taking off clothes." Jaya smiled softly. "Not to hide, but to show trust." Together, they spoke the phrase clearly and with meaning. The crowd fell silent. No one removed their robes, but the room felt warmer, lighter. Something unseen passed between the beings, a feeling of openness, honesty, and peace. Then applause rose like a wave. Cheers came from every corner of the hall. People smiled. Tears glistened in some eyes. The bond between humans and Lexari and all others was sealed. After the ceremony, Ethan and Jaya stood outside beneath twin moons. The sky was bright with stars. You changed more than their minds, Jaya said. You changed their hearts. Ethan looked up. And you changed mine. She stepped closer. One word, one truth, one future. He nodded. Together, they stood quietly, watching the stars. The galaxy was vast, but now, with truth and trust, it felt smaller, kinder, and full of hope.